All
Okay.
set?
Mhm.
All right. So, do we have Finley, Lacey, Clarissa, Jody, and Anacleto? Just to make sure.
Yep.
All right,
Yep.
perfect. 1, 2, 3, 4. So 5 of us. That's good. So, in today's discussion, we have 5 questions that we're gonna go through it. And also, if you want to have present any insights and knowledge, feel welcome to, to do it. So we're gonna start with the first question, which is how do we feel, or how do we find the balance of the love and God's laws in our advocacy efforts? All right. So I have a Philly in the list. So Philly, you can start with that question, and then Lacey can go after, and Clarissa, I, and Jody. So the first question, all right? I'm gonna repeat it again. How do we find the balance of love and God's law in our advocacy efforts?
I feel like finding the balance. Gosh, that's a hard question, kind of. I think that there's. I think that yes, we need to defend our families and defend what we believe. But I think that there's a difference between being on the defensive and defending something. And so I think that we do need to stand up for what's right, and we do need to fight for what we believe. But I think that there's a way to do it where it doesn't come across as an attack. And so when we do defend what we believe, we need to incorporate God's love into our defense. And we need to see that person as not our enemy or as somebody that's trying to bring us down, even though it may feel like they are. But we need to see them as somebody like, no, look, this is really what this is. Like, this is really what I'm fighting for. It's not against you. It's not against people's freedoms or whatever, but it's against, these things that can destroy the family and for what it stands for.
Yes. Yes, I like how you mentioned defend families and God, but defend families and God. Imagine, you talk about belief here and love. Imagine that your son, it's like gay, and we have to show that love towards him, all right? And also because your religion believes against that, you have like a dilemma right here. You cannot, you have to love your son, and also you have to obey the God of belief. So it's very difficult. Sometimes when we are outside of this reality, you might say, no, it's easy. I'm against that. That's bad. You shouldn't do it. But when it's in your family, you know what I mean? It's different stuff. So thank you. I appreciate it. I appreciate you. Yeah. Anybody want to comment? Anybody want to comment about it? Or we can move on. Lacey can go.
I do. I really liked what Finley said about feeling defensive about it. And one of my takes from this whole lesson and the videos we had to watch and the readings we had to do, what really stuck with me is what I think it was Marcia Barlow that she said, that you have to reform the way that you want to say something, or something that is given to you. You have to use that word judo to kind of just change their perspective so that they don't feel like you're attacking them and you're actually wanting to incorporate their beliefs into what you are trying to say, if that makes sense. So it also made me sad that she said that you always want to stay away from God or any religion things when you're talking to someone. And she's like, it was really sad for me to think about, just because that's what we are, everybody a missionary. But it's true, like, everybody gets so offended nowadays really easily. So I think it's just a way for us to stay out of hurting people's feelings or offending them, because that's not what we want to do. So just reforming the things to what appeals to them might be better.
So, Clarissa, do you wanna answer the question? You ready?
Which one? The first
Oh,
one?
sorry. Yes. You were
Oh,
just make a comment of Finley, or it was your answer? That
yeah,
was your answer.
that
Or
was
you,
my
or,
answer. Yeah, because I
okay.
really
All
liked
right.
what Finley said, but I also like responded with
All
my
right.
own thing.
That's that's good. That's
Yeah.
good. All right. Lacey.
Um, I think Clarissa and Finley kind of answered the.
Pretty much.
Yeah, they pretty much covered all the main points on how we,
Yes.
stand up,
I
but always show love.
yes. To I think Elder Christopherson, he beautifully explained that we should put God first in this case. It's very difficult, but this is the device of general authority. And the majority of people, if you see, have an unconditional love for their families. The majority. The reason why I did not say yes, or Johnny, this is
All
back.
right, my computer froze, so I'm on my laptop.
Oh, it's okay. It's okay. We still answered the question number one, so you're good. So
And I think, I have one thing I can add to that. Even though I think, was it Marissa, as it said that we don't want to bring God or like use scriptures, specifically in the debates. That doesn't mean that we're not bringing him to the table. We have him with us. We have our knowledge, and we can use those things and word things, without being like scripture number, da 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 da. But, there's a way to still bring him to the table without saying that you are. And so I think it's important for us to remember to do it that way.
true. Like I was saying, Elder Christopherson, so he beautifully explained this, how we balance that. And the majority of people, they have unconditional love for their families. I did not say all people is for the simple fact that there are individual parents and close relatives for some example reject any contact to family members that is in the same sex relationship. So it happens a lot. Um, it's sad, but it happens. This happened not only with non-member, but also with the LDS church members. The matter of fact, I personally believe it's easier for non-member to accept this situation, than a member, for the simple reason that the church does not accept, and also there is a stigma involved. So, like I was comment to Finley, it's very difficult, when this thing is happening in our homes or surround us. It's easier when it's far away from our lives. We can just say, yeah, this is the rule, this is a church thing. So yeah, that's against the God laws. But when it comes to our home, we see things different. So all right. So anyone any comments before we move on to the question number two?
Sorry, my battery then died after that. It's like the hangout from Nightmare Hangout. Anyways, but it's plugged in. So I didn't hear what you guys said because it froze and then the battery died. But so I'll answer what I thought about how do you show love, that question. And it's funny because a lot of it, we love somebody so much, but I think one way that we can help is actually to take the emotion out of it when we're talking with them. Because things can get so heated so quickly. And if we take our passion and our emotion down a little bit, I think it is what helps allow the room, I don't know if that was already said or if that makes sense, but yeah, we can go on. Sorry.
Yeah, that's fine. So the question number two is, what connection did you make between Elder Oaks and Elder Holland talk? So, yep, we can start with Finley. What was the connection you made between those two talks?
Sorry, hold on one second. I think that, I mean, the common theme here throughout this, I think, is just love. It's we love our families. We love the people around us, and they're not going to make choices that we're going to love, though. And we've got to be, Elder Oaks taught, I wanted to read something that he said in his talk. Sorry, I should have been more prepared for this, but he just said, so I liked this part. He said, even as we seek to be meek and to avoid contention, we must not compromise or dilute our commitment to the truths we understand. We must not surrender our positions or values. The gospel of Jesus Christ and the covenants we have made inevitably cast us as combatants in the eternal contest between truth and error. There is no middle ground in that contest. And I think that that's such a good point. That he brings up there, like we have to love God first, and then we have to fight for what we believe against people that we also love sometimes, but we need to show that love to them.
Yes. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I made a couple notes, just comparing like things that I heard, like both Elder Oaks and Elder Holland kind of like mentioned in their talk that were the same. And so some of them, like Finley already touched on, like we must keep the commandments, especially the first and second. So that falls with, the love aspect of it. We need to be Christ-like, and that characteristic, I like that he said, is born from putting him first at all times in all places. So it's something that we need to, practice and always be. We need to display the truth firmly, but also kindly. And I really like this statement. We need to stand up for and fight for free exercise of religion to make sure there aren't laws established to take those away from not just the LDS religion, but for all religions or non-religion. And we are to live in the world, but not of the world. And then I kind of just did two quotes from both of them that are kind of the same. Like Elder Oak said, we must not compromise or dilute our commitment to the truths. And Elder Holland said that we can't, check our religion at the door.
Yes, I like that.
Yeah, some of the things that I also saw is like including all of those things, but what really hit me for some reason was the contrast between, well, not contrast because they were both the same, but just how Elder Oaks and Elder Holland were both talking about loving the sinner but not the sin. And they both emphasized that a lot in their talks. And what I took away from it was I always feel like with Elder Holland's talk that he was talking about the girl with the color rainbow hair and the tattoos and her skirt and her blouse and stuff, like how most of us are so quick to judge and are so quick to be like, what is she doing here? Or have you guys heard of the Tattooed Mormon, her books and stuff? Yeah, like she's awesome. And her story just makes me so sad that people of the church would be so quick to judge, because we're not supposed to do that. And I think that goes hand in hand also with what we were learning about being a righteous judger or a self-righteous judger. And we're obviously supposed to be like the righteous kind, that we want to help people instead of pushing them away because of their appearances or their beliefs. So, yeah.
Finley, we have you twice.
Yeah, my computer's about to die, so you guys are on my phone now.
Oh, okay.
Jody, do you want to make a comment on it?
Yeah. One thing that stood out to me in Elder Oaks' talk, and I cut and copy and pasted it, was when he was talking about the woman in adultery. He said he treated her with kindness by declining to condemn her at that time. And the word "at that time" what stood out to me. Because I feel like when we stand, like his talk also talked about, there is no middle ground. Even though we're showing all this love and everything like that, inevitably with those closest to us, there's gonna come an at that time moment, if that makes sense, where we do stand to our principle of truth and are not on that middle ground. And so that just really stood out to me, that he treated her with kindness by declining to condemn her at that time. But that doesn't mean that later on there wasn't instruction of truth that took place.
Yes, yes. Um, just to touch base, I one of the the connection that I made between those talks you guys already mentioned is the judgment and the checkout. Like you say, checkout things. So we should not be judgment. At least make righteous judgment and not self righteous judgment. And it's important to understand and respect others' backgrounds, perspective, and point of views, even if they significantly differ for us. Um, we are not a temporary follower of Christ, but a permanent. We are not a part-time follower, but a full-time. The Zoramites in the Book of Mormon, they used to go to church and or they worship God just for one day. They pray, they go home. They no longer talk to God until the next Sunday, whatever. So we should never check out. We should be checking all the time. So I think is one of the things like I always I don't know, ponder, reflect on it, because it happens today in our church, and we have a lot of Zoramites. It happens. Unfortunately, it happens. We are not, we are not perfect, so we work towards perfection. So we're gonna move on to the question number 3, which is who has come to your mind this week as we have learned and discussed the Christ-like character? What are you going to do about it? Philly, you're first.
Okay, so I don't know. Okay, so I have been thinking a lot about an aunt that I have. As I've been reading these things, she lost her husband. Her husband passed away 7 years ago when she was pregnant with their 5th baby, and after that, she's kind of she remarried a couple years ago, and after that remarriage, she's kind of separated herself from church, separated herself from a lot of family members, and she has posted a lot of things that are very aggressive towards the LDS church and to families and things like that. And so anyway, I've just thought a lot about her this week as I've been reading these, and I hope that's what she means by asking that question, but that's what I've been thinking about. And I'm actually going to visit her in like next week. I think I'm going to see her, and I haven't seen her in a long time. And she gets pretty defensive when people even make mention of church or any type of thing that the church stands against or anything like that. She gets pretty defensive. And so it's going to be interesting, and I hope that I can talk to her, but with love, as if anything comes up between me or, between in our discussion, having family time together or whatever, but I hope that I can apply what I've learned this week to what possibly could come up next week. So I want to apply that, understand that I can have confidence because I know what I believe is true. But also show love and compassion instead of doing shame, but show love and charity towards her as we have, hopefully, if it happens, a decent and productive conversation instead of a aggressive debate.
All right. Yes.
I guess I can go next. Oh,
you wanna go
okay. Yeah, I don't mind if Lindsay goes. Okay. So what I've been thinking about is, so I'm from Mexico, And when I was in middle school, I went to an all Catholic middle school, and I was the only member, and it was like a super huge school. And I know we've all had like probably similar experiences. But I had like a really, really good friend, and her mom was one of the religious teachers at the school. And they were super nice to me. Like, I loved them. She was like my tia. She was my aunt. And when I moved up here to Utah, I was 15 years, well, I'm in Rexburg now, but when I was 15 years old, I was sent to live to Utah as an international student. And I did high school here. And then after high school, I came up to Rexburg. And I hadn't seen them in like 7 years. But my aunt and her daughter, my best friend, they were able to come up for my wedding last August. And I was like, this is so cool. Like, I get to tell them a little bit about the church and stuff and blah, blah, blah. So they came like a week before my wedding up to Utah, and I took them to Temple Square. And I was like, this is cool, because they're like super religious and interested in the church. Like, they've always asked me questions about it. And I was like, well, there's tons of missionaries there that can help them, and that's going to be fun. And she talked to some missionaries and was really nice to them at first. But then after, I think it was a second couple of missionaries that came up to her, and she's like, you know what, I'm tired of this. Like, I'm a Catholic. I don't care. I'm going to listen to you, but just know that I'm Catholic and I don't want to change my religion. And so this week, I kind of just thought about how she reacted versus how the missionaries were like taken aback, you know, by her response. And they were like, oh, that's okay. You're here and we would like to share our history with you, kind of thing. So I was thinking a lot about her. And what I did is I went up to Facebook and I took the talk from this last general conference, the one towards investigators. I don't remember who gave it, but he was Latin. And I posted it onto Facebook, but I made it private only so that she could see it, but I made it seem like it was for everybody. And that was like targeted to her. And I was like, I put down my testimony and I was like, I love the church, I love this, and then I love the missionaries and blah, blah, blah. And so she actually liked it. And I'm hoping that she sends me a message, like with more questions or stuff, that I am planning on really sending her information to some missionaries down in Mexico where she's at. So I hope that plants a little seed or something. But yeah.
I love that talk from General Conference. It was one of my favorites.
It was so good.
Yeah. I'm a convert, so it really spoke to me too. So one of my best friends has really been on my mind this week. It's actually been interesting on our journey because I was really afraid when I joined the church that I was going to lose him as a friend because he has, you know, same-sex attraction. Obviously, that's a big difference, you know, of belief and what we stand for in the church. But it's been amazing through the years that we've actually remained friends, and you know, we've talked about things, but he's really been on my mind this week as I've been going through this material, and it's actually funny. I'm going to go out and visit him this summer, and he lives in Iowa, but he's going to be out in Ohio, and I'm going to meet him in Indiana, and we're going to drive back, and we're going to go to Illinois because I really want to go to Nauvoo, and we're going to go to Carthage. And so I was just like, it's kind of perfect timing to learn even more about this stuff because he's asked questions. He knows that I'm going to go to the temple when I'm there. He even made a comment that he's jealous that he can't go into the temple, but he respects our religion and why he can't go into the temple. And so it's just been kind of amazing for me to watch this all develop, you know, as time goes on, and that he is looking. And I think that's why it's so important for us to be that example and to stand up, and that talking is not always going to work. Actually, you know, it's our actions and our beliefs. And so by me just still doing what I believe in and being that example, like he's still getting that exposure and seeing things. So I know that he's questioning things and pondering things. And I just know that this summer when I go out there, we're going to have a lot of exposure, you know, to him seeing more stuff and he gets to learn about the history. And so I know that that's going to pose more questions. So what the second part of the question says, what are you going to do about it? So I hope that I can talk and be more of an example And I'm excited that he's going to get to go to those places and have others talk to him and actually get to learn more about the history of it. And I'm really, I just want to really make sure that I'm in tune with the Holy Ghost and to just kind of, you know, speak the words that Heavenly Father wants my friend to hear when the time presents itself. You know, I think he's going to really use me as a tool during that time. And so I'm just really trying to prepare myself to make sure that there is no contention when that happens. And I'm excited because I think it's going to be a really good experience.
Thank you for your comment. Jody?
I thought a lot about my sister and her family. They live in Switzerland, and about a year ago, they all removed their records from the church over differing beliefs. She is the most loving person, and we have a really, really strong bond. I think that she respects me. She said that when she left the church, she felt like I was the one who didn't judge her, and I felt like that left a place in her heart for her to be able to keep that relationship open. And I like what, Lacey, what you just barely said about when the time presents itself. I don't think right now, I don't see the time presenting itself right now because she's in Switzerland, maybe on the next visit or something like that when we're together. And so what I can do about it now is just to keep strengthening my ability to articulate my beliefs, and just wait for the time when it presents itself, when there's a softening and when she might be able to be a little bit more receptive.
All right. Thanks. Yeah, that's absolutely true. Should never judge, be judgmental.
I'm fine with that, Finley. Yeah.
Yeah, go ahead.
Oh, I can't hear you, Finley. You're still muted.
Sorry, I said my computer's about to die soon. So it was fully charged, but this traveling thing really drains it. So would it be all right if we wrapped it up? She said we don't need to cover every single question in our meeting. So are you guys okay with wrapping it up?
Yeah.
Is there anything else that anybody wanted to share? Anything else that stuck out real quick, or is everybody good?
Yeah. Okay,
I
so
know the videos were awesome. They were very informational. So I think, yeah, I liked them.
Yes, like I said, I had a different perspective to answer this question, but since your battery is dying and you want to record it, because there were a few individuals that came on my mind, but I thought I would miss the point. If I did not include myself in this question, because I'm covered to the church. So I don't want to expand this answer because your battery is dying, so we can wrap it up if you want now.
Okay. So I think, Jody, you're summarizing, right?
sure. Yeah, I'll summarize. Sorry, because I had that issue with my freezing computer and then switching for my battery power. I didn't get a whole lot of the first one. What I mainly summarized was we talked about not judging, a little mention of the tattoo Mormon, but just the importance of not judging. Everybody shared who they thought about. Stanley talked about not having an aggressive debate, and I really love you talked about the private Facebook message and just being ready to talk about things. And so I thought that was a nice thing to summarize, with just that we are able to take the things that we learned and try to apply them in our life with those people that we thought about. So I'll just leave it at that. I think it's actually good if we try and maybe always end at 11 o'clock. Are you guys okay with that?
Yeah, that'll be fine.
Okay. That's all I have.
All right. Well, I think we're done.
Okay. All right, awesome,
All right.
guys. Well, hope you have a good rest of your week, and I will see you next week.
Yep.
All right.
Bye.
Thank you all
Bye,
for your
guys.
participation.
Bye.
See ya.